Bitcoin is back over 71K. And as usual, I'm getting text messages like, Dante, why is Bitcoin back at all-time highs? I'm sure you get those questions too. So today, I'm going to give you a video of 9 reasons why I believe Bitcoin is at 71K and it's going much higher that you can send them. Let's go. What's up? This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply, helping you to understand macro and markets in a simple way. Bitcoin is at 71K and it's going much higher from here because if you're a director like Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther, and you're arrested for pulling your own money out of your bank at Bank of America, I can understand why people want to invest their savings and money in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at 71K and it's going much higher because of people like Howard Lutnick, CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, who says that he owns hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin that he believes is going to billions. And he lays out a plan that he is going to share with other Wall Street firms who are going to pile into Bitcoin and make it more valuable.
I would say I have hundreds of millions of dollars.
Okay.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars exposure to Bitcoin. And it will be billions.
I was going to say, so next year when you come back and we'll do this again and you'll be a Bitcoin billionaire and
yeah, but you remember that model I told you. So if every time Bitcoin dips, I'm going to be the buyer. Right?
Trust me, I know why you're doing the lending.
It's all coming. You figured it out.
Listen, you don't have to explain that one around here.
So I got the 50% Bitcoin. I got the Bitcoin lending. But basically, what you're going to see is Cantor Fitzgerald is going to be the sponsor of Bitcoin into traditional finance.
Mm-hmm.
And so we will be the leader of it. And I'll pull out this podcast in years to come and say, see, I told you, because no one's going to remember.
Of course.
Right. But all the banks, after we do it and show people how to do it right, they'll all copy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the asset of Bitcoin will just, as it becomes more accepted, it will become more valuable.
Why is Bitcoin at 71K and going much higher? Let me give you a story. Imagine if you come to a franchise like Miami in 2003 and you help them win 3 NBA championships in 2006, 2012, and 2013, and they reward you with a statue like this. You see, this statue looks nothing like Dwayne Wade. In fact, it's a mix between Thanos and the lead zombie in I Am Legend. And that's how many retirees feel. They've worked their entire lives, sacrificed, laid themselves on the line, and told that the American dream would be there for them when they want to retire, when they just save and put money in their 401k, that their retirement would look like this instead of this. But a recent study from E.J. Antoni shows exactly why retirees feel like Dwayne Wade. Because the study shows that although the retirement portfolios increased by 8.3% a year from 2021, it actually lost value because of inflation. Pension plans have lost about $2.5 trillion worth of real value in that same time frame. And if you are planning on retiring with a $1 million IRA, well, you have to work 6 more years just to have the same quality of living for when you retire because of inflation. The money trapped up in these retirement portfolios are moving from bonds and other assets to Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin's at 71K and it's going much higher. Bitcoin's at 71K and going much higher because people are searching for the truth. When you can't find the most popular podcast and interview in the world on major search engines, and Jeff Bezos is saying that people have completely lost faith in traditional media, you understand that there's a problem with the truth in this country. Bitcoin is at 71K and it's going much higher because you see places like El Salvador benefiting from being Bitcoin country and the Bitcoin capital of the world. People want more freedom, and you can see that in El Salvador. Imagine if a place like the United States adopted Bitcoin the same way that El Salvador does.
So you say El Salvador, through Bitcoin, is now achieving the American dream. Explain it to us.
The Salvadoran dream is alive and well. Charles, we actually have reverse migration at the southern border. More people are going to El Salvador than the other way around because we've got economic freedom here. We've got freedom of speech here. We're paying down our debt. The economy is growing. Inflation is under 1%. President Bukele is the most popular leader in the world. It's the safest country in the Western Hemisphere right now. It's safer than Disneyland to come to El Salvador. You have a greater risk of getting mugged in Disneyland than getting attacked here in El Salvador, Charles.
Bitcoin is at 71K, and it's going much higher because, unlike the tech giants, Bitcoin is a truly decentralized and fully democratic system. With new protocols like Datum and ocean mining, you have people like Steve winning blocks in between major mining pools like Foundry. And you have guys like this guy mining Bitcoin from their computer at their house, winning 3.161 Bitcoin or $216,000 worth of Bitcoin by simply securing the world's most decentralized computer network. That's why Bitcoin is at $71,000 and is going much higher. Bitcoin is at $71,000 and it's going much higher because it's been the best performing asset in the world over the past decade and people haven't even realized it yet. Just imagine, you're a major brokerage like Charles Schwab and you say that MicroStrategy is the worst possible stock that you can invest in with the worst possible rating on their platform. Yet MicroStrategy has been the best performing asset over the past 4 years, outperforming Nvidia, the Magnificent Seven, and even Bitcoin in terms of returns. Imagine when these portfolios start to realize the return impact that Bitcoin could have if you add it to their portfolio. Bitcoin is at 71K and it's going much higher because despite being 3% off of all-time highs, people aren't even searching for it yet. Typically, when Bitcoin is near or reaching all-time highs, search traffic on Google goes crazy over Bitcoin, and we're not even there yet. There's still crickets in the internet about this thing that is close to breaking out. Bitcoin is at $71,000, and it's going much higher because it's replacing real estate as a traditional store of value. You see, home prices in the United States have gone up 50% over the past 5 years, yet income has only gone up at half that amount. This is creating an affordability crisis. And you don't have to buy a whole home to buy some sats. That's why Bitcoin is at $71,000 and it's going much higher. Bitcoin is at $71,000 and it's going much higher because even former President Obama said that Bitcoin is sort of like having a Swiss bank account in your pocket, that even the government can't crack.
If technologically it is possible to make an impenetrable device or system where the encryption is so strong that there's no key, there's no door at all, what mechanisms do we have available to even do simple things like tax enforcement? Because if in fact you can't crack that at all, government can't get in, then everybody's walking around with a Swiss bank account in their pocket.
If you don't understand what President Obama was saying about encryption and private keys and impenetrable networks, then I suggest that you schedule a meeting with thebitcoinway.com. Their team will assign you a one-on-one cybersecurity expert who will help you to understand what self-custody is, what private keys are, and how you can secure your Bitcoin from even the government by using simple tools and skills that they will teach you. Head over to thebitcoinway.com to schedule a meeting with their team. I have a lot more than 9 reasons as to why I believe Bitcoin's at 71K and it's going much higher. But if you don't believe me, it doesn't really matter because there's firms like Van Eck who say that Bitcoin is going to $3 million per coin in the medium term.
We have a model that assumes that by 2050, this is very long term, that Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset that's used in global trade and held by global central banks at a very modest 2% weight. And in that model, we arrive at a $3 million price target for Bitcoin. Now, that sounds, extreme, but that's a 16% compound annual growth rate for a couple decades. That's not really that extreme.
It's not just me who believes that Bitcoin's going higher and much higher. It's Canadians too. Bitcoin broke 100K per Canadian dollar just this morning, and Bitcoin is making all-time highs in currencies all over the world today. So if anyone asks you why Bitcoin is at 71K, or why you believe it's going much higher, just send them this video. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.